Hello everybody, કેમ છો બધા મજામાં? I'm Urvi Lohana, alumni of LDRP ITR. We'll wait for a couple of few minutes before people join us. Let's wait for a few minutes. I'll just give me a comment if you hear the audio perfect. I'll share my screen real quick to just check if the audio and video are proper. Right. I hope everybody can see my screen. Right, we have 2 more minutes to join the webinar, to start the webinar. Let me know if you guys can see my screen and hear me perfectly. All right, looks good. Thank you so much. So I'm Urvi Lohana. I am based in Raleigh, and this is a special webinar organized by LDRP ITR. That is my alma mater, and I'm really glad to be a part of this. All right, and we'll wait for a few more minutes. Just introduce yourselves. Let me know how many of you are interested in data science, how many of you are interested in machine learning, AI, how many of you are planning to come to US, and what field are you looking for specifically? Yeah, please, ask any questions that you have. I'll be checking the questions, and I'll answer you as much as I can. So keep on posting questions. We'll get a good chance to answer those questions in last 15 to 20 minutes. So yeah, keep on asking questions. Let's keep it interactive. Yeah, it will be fun for you all as well. And I think this will actually be the worth. It will be worth of your time. I'll share all my insights, what I learned. Also, at the end of the session, I'm going to share with you all the things that I actually felt that I should have known before coming here, but didn't get a proper source. So I think, yeah, I'll share all those tips and secrets and all those things. So be sure, to be a part of this till the end. So, all right. I can see that Harsh is interested in data science and ML. That's actually nice. Piyush as well is interested in data science and machine learning. Yes, we are going to talk about that. And let's start. All right, so my topic for today is data science in the USA and more insights. Friends, this picture on the screen that you see is basically Raleigh, the city where I live and I love the most. So here I have my, my college, NC State, the company that I work for, LexisNexis. Everything is here. This is Raleigh. Right, let me introduce you. Hello everybody, Kem Cho, Majama. I am Urvi Lohana. So this is the mascot of NC State, Mrs. Wolf. Here is my LinkedIn profile, my email address if you guys want to reach me. I am in Raleigh. I'll be happy to help with any other location that you guys ask me for. So I basically did my bachelor's of computer engineering at LDRP, ITR. Masters of Computer Science at NC State, and I'll be joining data scientist at LexisNexis from 1st of June. So when I introduce, after this introduction, I would say that the agenda for today is I'll be discussing these things. So my journey on doing masters in the USA, I think that's important because many of you are aspiring to come to the US, study in the US, work in the US. Or so I'll share my journey, how it is, and then what did I do to get here, every other tips that I can think of, I'll share that. Then we'll talk about what is data science, a brief introduction on data science and machine learning, its algorithms, and then, yeah, we have a hot topic, steps to become a data scientist. Isn't that interesting? Like if you get all the courses that you have to do, and then what else can you do to become a data scientist? I think that would be interesting for most of you. Yeah. And then I'll talk about what are the current studies and job scenarios here in the USA. Given these times are really difficult, I'll talk about how these scenarios are here. So that would, I think, help most of you. Yes, so this is my agenda for today. We'll also have a question answering session at the end. I think 15 to 20 minutes of the session would be the question answering session, which I think you can ask any question that you want related to data science and the scenarios here. So I'll be trying to answer most of the questions. So stick to the end. That's what I would say. All right. So I graduated from LDRP ITR in 2018. And I was a gold medalist. I also have a proof if you guys want to see. So this is the certificate of merit that I acclaimed at this really great college. I would say then after that I graduated from North Carolina State University in May 2020 with a data science track. I did my master's of computer science with a data science track here, and and then I interned at LexisNexis. I co-opted there, so it's almost been a year before I joined them full time from June 1st, 2020. Let me tell you a little about LexisNexis. It's a company. It's a legal-based company, so mostly the attorneys, the law firms here in the USA. We also have this company in India as well. So mostly the lawyers, the attorneys, the judges, the law firms, the law schools, the librarians, all those people use these products for mostly for their legal research. All right, and then I would say I'll talk about my journey, how it all started from KSV, from LDRP ITR to this basically is the first intern spotlight. So my company created this basically for the first time. They are featuring the interns that have done great work in the company. So this is basically the intern spotlight event that happened, and I am proud of it that I was the first one to feature as an intern spotlight. So yeah, this was basically 3 months, immediately 3 months after I started my internship, and I'm lucky that I'm being fortunate enough to continue it further. So this is what I have. Now let me talk about the journey. Okay, how it all started. So I think as most of these students there in India, I too had a dream of coming to the US studying. I've heard about how the study is here, so I wanted to be a part of it and feel it myself. Like what is the difference between the studies here and there. So it all started with giving GRE and getting a really good score, and then I gave TOEFL for the English proficiency. So that got a really good score. Then I started, writing my statement of purposes that you call SOP, letter of recommendations, LORs. I got immense help from professors at LDRP to, help me out with that. And then I think most important part was the college surveys. So you have to survey a lot of colleges before you fill out the applications. You need to basically survey based on what your needs are, what the research of that college in what direction. And I also feel important to understand the research of the professors. So I think by that you'll be you'll be basically understanding what the direction is for the professors, and if you guys want to do research in that, that would be helpful. So after those college surveys and filling out applications, I got admits from University of Southern California, USC, LA, and then I got admits from NC State, where I chose to do my master's, and then from Arizona State University, ASU. So I feel the college decision is the most important part. You need to understand every bit of that college before joining the college. So be it the Indian community here, the people who can help you out, and then I think after the college selection is done, the course selection is a major part. So I was pretty clear before coming here to the US that I wanted to do courses all related to mostly data science and data mining, artificial intelligence, all those things. So I think then you have to research more on the courses and on the professors and on the projects they are working on. I think that would be really helpful. And then I started being a part of various hackathons. The most fun one and the the one that taught me the most was the Rise to Code hackathon that was organized by LexisNexis. So yeah, I was part of a couple of hackathons here before joining my internship and all. And then I gave an interview, got selected, and then moved to the internship. The co-op is basically working part-time while you are studying, and then full-time. I'll be starting full-time at LexisNexis from 1st of June. So this is pretty short journey that I had. I haven't shown any of the pains that and any of the hard work that masters have to do here, but I think you guys know it. It's a different level. All right, and now let us talk about what is data science. Brief introduction on data science and machine learning. So let me be very frank, I'm not touch basing a particular algorithm here, as it all depends on which field you are working on with closely. So let's say for me, I'm working with LexisNexis and it's all legal data and it's all text. So my algorithms will be a little different from the ones that deal with images, right? So I think I'll not touch base you with any specific algorithm, but what I'll do is I'll give a brief introduction of what is data science, what is machine learning, which algorithms you can use, and yeah, so let's start. All right. Believe it or not, this is the age of big data. I remember Ashish sir's lecture of DBMS, and we had discussed a couple of things with this. So I really remember every part of it, I should say. Yeah, so this is the age of big data. And imagine every day people create 2.5 billion trillion bytes of data around the world, from sensors, mobile devices, the social networks that you guys use, the online transactions. So this is actually a lot of data. And as you see here, Facebook has like 1 billion messages per day. Twitter has 200 million tweets per day. So it's very important to basically understand that data. I remember this part of Ashish sir's class where he used to say, data is not equal to knowledge, right? You need a learning algorithm in between where you would say that you learned this from data, or you learned this pattern from the data, or you learned you are able to estimate something from the data, you are able to predict something from that data, right? So when you say that you have the knowledge of that data, you need a specific learning algorithm in between where you can't just use data as is. So yeah, so this is the age of big data. Now let's talk about what data science is. So the very basic, like a 1,000 feet definition of data science, I would say, is just same. Like, you have data and you want to extract knowledge from that data. So you need a set of fundamental principles that can help that procedure, right? We kind of use data mining and data science interchangeably, but I feel data mining is basically a technique. Data science is a whole interdisciplinary field. And so data mining is basically, extraction of knowledge from data via those technologies that incorporate these principles. So as you see here on the image on the rightmost bottom part, so data science has, all the domains, expertise, data engineering, math, statistics. Yes, you should never forget, if you want to go into real deep, I have taken courses of statistics here at NC State, so now I know that, why it is important. So every field contributes as a data scientist. You should be good in visualization, should be good in advanced computing, scientific methods, hacker mindset. So every part of it contributes you to become a data scientist. And I would say that, so data science is basically, as you look on the topmost right corner image, you can see that it is basically an interlink of data analytics, high performance computing, big data management. So let's say in my company, I haven't seen a data of like just 5 to 6 rows. It's 5 to 6 objects. It's not like that. It's like a GB of data or more than that. So it deals with all the kinds of high performance computing, then big data management, every part of it. So I am not intending to scare you at all, but I'm just briefly identifying what what are the pieces of that big bubble data science, right? So I'm just specifying the pieces of it. All right. So before moving on, do we have any questions here? All right. Any questions that I should answer right now rather than later? I'll be definitely answering questions, but yeah, if there are any questions. All right. All right, let's move on. So now we move on to the data-driven questions. So let's say you have a project, your professor asks you to, he just gives you a 1 GB of data set of, talking about fertilizer and crops and the yield of that fertilizer. Does it increase the crop yield? Like it's 1 GB of data. It has, tremendous amount of columns, tremendous rows. And what he asks is that from this data, I'll ask you a data-driven question. So the question might be like, does the given fertilizer increase the crop yield? So after that, once you have the question that you wanted to answer, the data-driven question, or basically your hypothesis, what you will do is there's a specific workflow that you have to follow. So these questions, I feel, kind of drive where you want to go, like from the data set, how do you want to proceed. There can be specific questions based on specific data sets, like does streptozotocin cure tuberculosis? Does smoking cause lung cancer? So all those fields, basically all those questions are data driven questions for that particular kind of data set. So let's see what the workflow is. All right, so I have a question that I want to address before moving on to workflow. What is Dharmesh is asking, what is the core programming language for data science for the beginner? So I would say it's more of like Python or R. In Python, you can kind of use like Anaconda, Jupyter notebooks, and yeah, I personally started that. Now I'm moving to more intermediate approaches, but yeah, this is how you start. Okay. All right, so once we know that what are your data driven questions for that particular data set, we kind of have the workflow that we kind of have to follow. So once you have the question, let's say your question is, does the given fertilizer increase the crop yield? You have the question, right? You have the particular kind of data that you need for that. You explore the data is the next step. So you kind of pre-process it, and there'd be a lot of pre-processing techniques that you'll have to use before you can't straight away take that data and build a model out of it. So you'll have to pre-process it. If there are too many attributes, you'll have to let's say you'll have to use the PCA technique, and you have to reduce the dimensions of it and all those things. So you have to explore the data, understand the data before modeling it. You have to see if the data set is balanced or not. If it's imbalanced, there are other techniques to balance it. By balance, I mean, let's say if the class labels of are X and Y, we have too much quantity of X and a little quantity of Y. That's imbalanced data set that will bias your model as well. So we have to explore a lot of pre-processing techniques before we model the data. Once you model the data, after you are done with modeling, you have to communicate the results, be it accuracy or precision or recall or F1 measure, everything like that, and get a few statistics, get a few visualization plots, get a few, if it's hypothesis testing, you see which one is is it alternate hypothesis or which one is basically ruling. So yeah, and just note this is a bidirectional arrow like between each phases. That means it's not a straight way process. It's not like you just get the data, explore, model, and communicate. You're done with it. It's not like that. There are times when we have to again go back to get the data and then again do the whole procedure, try out different models, explore different pre-processing techniques based on the accuracy and any other measure that you guys are using. So I think it all depends. It's not a one-way linear procedure. You have to come to and fro to understand the data and answer that specific data-driven question. All right. So before moving, I'll just say if there are any other questions. All right. So I don't see any questions. I have which language you prefer, R or Python. So I think I would personally prefer Python based on the kind of libraries and the kind of help that we have for TensorFlow and deep learning. But I think we have used R as well in the projects at my masters. So even R works really well. The only thing is you need to understand what you want to do. That's the problem. Okay, so we'll keep the questions for the end of the session, and I think we can move on to what is data. So basically, in that data science bubble, what exactly that data is? When we are talking about data, what is it? So these are all attributes. So the let's say when we have the data of a person, the eye color, let's say one column is eye color. So the eye color of a person is basically an attribute. It is a characteristic of an object. So these columns that you see are basically attributes, and they are also known as of features, that what we usually call here the variable, field. All right, so these are all the attributes. Then the collection of all those attributes is known as an object, record, or a point, case, sample, entity, instance. So all these are the things, all these are just synonyms of the objects that we call here. So these are the attributes and these are the objects. That is data we are talking about. And okay, so it's not just that simple. We have like really, different types of data sets that we work with. So it's not just text and images that you guys think of. It's mainly categorized into three parts: the record data, graph, and ordered. So record data is basically, so your text also can be treated as a record data, right? You have the data metrics or document data. So all those are in the record data as data metrics, document data, and transaction data. Then we have graph data set, which comprises of World Wide Web or molecular structures, because data science is used a lot in chemistry as well. I have seen a couple of implementations using the COVID-19 um, pandemic that we have right now. We have a couple of implementations of the graph data set in the molecular structures. A lot of data science techniques are applied on that. Then we have the ordered data set, which has the temporal data, sequential data, genetic sequence data, spatial data. So all those things are different types of data sets. We kind of use little different algorithms for each one of them. So yeah, I'm not going into very deep of every type of data set here. You can contact me. I'll be happy to help if you guys have any questions, which algorithms are used for what. So I'll be dealing with those questions later. All right, so when we talk about the machine learning part and the data science part, we have two types of techniques: a supervised learning technique and an unsupervised learning technique. So basically, supervised learning technique, what I have learned in these couple of years, is that it's learning with a teacher. You already have a class label that says the response variable kind of thing. So that is a supervised learning method. The unsupervised learning is basically used in clustering and dimensionality reduction and all those parts. Is basically learning without a teacher. You don't have the class label or the response variable, and that is basically unsupervised learning. So I feel supervised learning is basically task driven, like you want to predict, and it's pre-categorized data. You have labels. The unsupervised learning is data driven. You have unlabeled data set. As I said, you don't have response variable for that. And you have classification and regression as supervised learning, clustering, association, dimensionality reduction as unsupervised learning. So I'm not going into very deep of it, but classification is like, for an example, is like you basically classify the let's say the socks by color. So, and regression is divide the tiles by length. It's regression is, I feel the simplest terms to understand is, we remember the slope of the line equation, right? You create a line that identifies, that can predict. That's what regression is. So it's not that simple, but yeah, in the simplest, if you want to explain to a 5-year-old, that's the deal. And talking about the supervised, unsupervised learning, I hope it's a little clear, what supervised learning techniques are, what unsupervised learning techniques are, and how do you approach it, right? All right. Now, this slide is not intended to scare you at all, but this is just an introduction of basic machine learning algorithms based on regression, which algorithm, based on basically what your task is. Is it regression, or is it dimensionality reduction? Is it clustering? And as you can see, is it ensemble? All the parts are these are the algorithms that are used for different types of tasks that we want to do. I'm not going into the deepness of every part of the algorithm, but it's just that you have everything on your plate. Now you have to choose what you want to work with. So for that, you'll have to you'll have to understand data, you'll have to understand your task, like what is your task, is it prediction, is it classification, what is it actually, and then pick algorithms, check what the accuracy is for that data, and all those things. So this is basically just a tour of machine learning algorithms. I personally use deep learning algorithms a lot. That's a whole different topic. We are discussing in a real brief what is um, machine learning, data science, algorithms. I'm not talking about the deep learning algorithms, but even for images, the deep learning algorithms are different. For text, the deep learning algorithms are kind of different. So um, it's not just the ones that are listed here. It's keeping on growing. The research is growing, so I think there are a lot more than this. All right. Now we have covered what is data science, brief introduction of data science and machine learning. I hope what it is actually clear now. Now we are moving to a very hot topic, steps to become a data scientist. It's not like that after looking at this presentation, you'll be hired as a data scientist or something, but it's just like I wanted to, briefly tell you what parts I missed on initially and which, you guys can focus on before starting your career. So yeah, let's move on to steps to become a data scientist. Mm, all right. Huh. Just this, just these four. I know it's not these four. It's a lot more hard work. Um, Courses. I would say that your courses give you the a base to how do you want to start. I basically started, like I was in LDRP. I basically started with a course Machine Learning A to Z by Udemy. I think that was very helpful for me because I got a particular direction as to, like, I'm enjoying this field, I want to work on it, and I want to learn more of it. So I think courses are an important part as to where you start. Your base is basically identified by these kind of courses. I list down the courses that I think are very important in the end of the session. Yeah, projects. Here I came to know that people are really, really keen to do kind of projects. The projects oriented, data science and machine learning. I'll also tell you how to get those projects, which will actually help you to, do an internship or work with a really good company like Google, Amazon. So yeah, wait for it. I'll tell you how to do it. Internships, if possible. I'll tell you how to, basically that I didn't know of when I was there, but I feel you guys should know how to do it if possible. Yeah. Otherwise, the courses and projects and open source projects can't. Yeah, open source projects contribution. How can I forget that? That I think is the most important part here, and everybody focuses on that. If you have at least one open source project contribution in your resume, I think that would be really helpful because that's a really good deal to get here. So yeah, and then learn, code, repeat. That's the only sequence that I have, because once you go into a company, you'll be just given a data set that you have to work on. Of course, the companies are really the employees are really nice here to help you if you're a first comer. But I think it all depends on you at the end of the day, right? Which algorithm you want to choose? How do you categorize those algorithms? How do you pre-process your data set? So it's all based on how much you have learned and how much you have practiced. By code, I mean practicing it. So that's the only routine: learn, code, repeat. So I think, yeah, these are the most important steps that I feel. The courses, the projects that you have done, the internships, if possible. It's not mandatory, but it would basically help you to learn, or to basically use what you have learned, right? To use the techniques that you have learned, or to basically search more on that particular data set, and learn, code, repeat. I think that's the mantra that everybody can give it. Yeah. All right. So I'll be providing with a list of the courses as well from Stanford. I'll be sharing this presentation with Ashish sir, and he can like forward it to you guys. Um, yeah. So it all depends. Like basically, you'll have to understand the basics of data science and machine learning. So we have specific courses for that by Stanford and by Andrew. That's the best course I feel. And I have take why am I saying this? Because these courses are important is because I've taken specific subjects here at NC State that actually helped me. Yeah, so we have NLP courses, machine learning courses, visualization courses. That's a lot. That's also an important domain. Like once you have your results, you will have to see how it looks, right? You have to show it to the people that you're working with, and so that also is really important. We have Tableau and all those things that people use here. So yeah, visualization, statistics, I feel is important if you want to understand it from the basic level. I feel statistics is important. SQL for data science, yes, it is important. It's not always that you'll be given a data set. Um, it will always, it can be like, yeah, for me it's the case that I'm not always given a data set. I have to fetch it from my database. So it all depends like what data you are collecting. So SQL for data science is also an important course. Deep learning is optional. It's basically a next stage of the basic machine learning and deep data science. I feel that if you guys are into research, this is a very important website that I interact with it. I interact a lot with. So papers with code have basically the GitHub profiles linked, and the research papers. Here, I feel that researching is also an important thing to do before you start, because you'll get like hundreds of algorithms um, that will do the same procedure, but you have to read a lot about it. Let's say for deep learning, for neural network, how many layers it has, and so you have to read about the computational power and everything like that from those research papers. And so Papers with Code is a very important website that a lot of people use here. So these are the kind of things that I feel important. And I just wrote it down here. I'll be sharing the list of courses as well in the end. All right, so steps to become a data scientist are pretty clear, I hope. Um, it's not basically a cup of tea. Now that you are you're like in lockdown, you can kind of use your time to basically study for these courses and do an internship or a project. And yeah, so this is why me and Ashish sir had a discussion of you know, how to pass my information, the information that I learned to the college from where I learned the most, that is LERP. So yeah, this is why we are here, and I'd be happy to help further. All right, let's talk about the current studies and job scenarios here in the USA. Yeah, it's not easy, but I'll tell you what. Okay, so masters in this field is worth the hassle. Yes, absolutely, because I feel otherwise I didn't I wouldn't have got a proper direction for how to enter this field. So I think that is really important. I wouldn't have taken the statistics course otherwise, right? I wouldn't have taken the SQL for data science course otherwise. So it all depends on you know how are you gonna crack this field. So yeah, I felt that masters is actually worth it. You get to learn a lot more. You get a proper direction. You get a lot of help from professors, from um, your peers, everybody. So you basically open your mindset you broaden your thinking capabilities, right? So that is what I felt. And it's not that there is hiring freeze here. There are a lot of giant companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Bloomberg, Citrix, and Blue Cross Blue Shield that are actually hiring. So it all depends on, you know, your resume, your hard work, your perseverance, and how you get into it. But yes, they are hiring. It's not actually, they have completely frozen it because of this COVID situations. They are actually hiring, and they need talented people. They need skillful people like you. So work a little more harder, push your limits, and I know that you guys can do it. You have to work hard and you have to stay focused, because what I felt is these are a little difficult. You guys can, just back out, quit it, that I don't want to do. I think software engineering is more easier and all, but this is actually worth trying, because we have like enormous amount of data. Even the Indian government has enormous amount of data. Why can't we be so resourceful that we can help them out, right? For predicting things. And believe me, this is basically the next generation uh, that's gonna work. Like, it would be all of data science, big data, because we have enormous amount of data, right? But we'll have to get techniques to use that data, to understand and to get knowledge from that data. So work hard, stay focused, don't back out. It would be tough, but push your limits and you'll be able to do it. And these are the current studies and job scenarios here in USA. The companies are hiring, so it's not like it's frozen. And yeah, these are the link of courses that I'll definitely send this presentation at the end to Ashish sir, and you guys can take a look. I've done a couple of courses. It's not like I am a brand ambassador of Andrew or Stanford or Coursera or Udemy. It's just that I kind of personally liked these courses and the content of it, and it's starting with the very basic level. So I think, yeah, it will be helpful a lot. The NLP course is an optional course. Like, if you want to go into deep learning, I'm personally right now I'm undertaking this course, which is actually nice. So yeah, you have to keep on growing, you have to keep on learning. That's the most important part. All right, now is the very important part. Things I wish I would have known before coming here, and while I was doing my bachelor's. Polish your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile is actually the most important part, because the resume from that part, like from LinkedIn. So EY, Asian Paints, Barclays, Amazon, all of them are hiring in India. So LinkedIn profile, as I said, open source projects. Try to contribute as much as you can in those open source projects. That would be really helpful for you in your resume. Try connecting with professors. I know that IIT Bombay and all the different IITs and NITs professors are actively looking for research, right? Actively looking guys who can do research under them to work on projects. So study about their research. Everything is up online, right? So just study about their research. Reach out to them. If you think that this project is a lot of interest, you guys have a lot of interest in that, and just talk to them that you want to collaborate, and you want to work with them. That would be a great learning experience. So try connecting with professors, and they are really helpful. Even the professors here in international universities will help you out with that. So yeah, connect with professors. Kaggle competitions, I came to know this after I came here, but I feel that this I should have known this before coming here. I would have started working on competitions. So Kaggle is basically, they have a huge data set collection of whatever things you want, and then you have to apply the machine learning techniques to machine learning, deep learning techniques to crack those kind of competitions. So yeah, that is important. Just as we have hacker HackerRank, HackerEarth. We also have LeetCode here. That's the most important thing that, here we start this from the very beginning, the time that we come here. So this is basically the practice problems for all the companies that are hiring, that basically hire. So we have really good bunch of problem statements that we can work on. So try creating an account. First, try starting with the easy problems, and then you can move on to the medium and hard level problems. Try to do it as much as you can. And yeah, the next thing I would say, I just recently saw this on LinkedIn. I wasn't aware of this by yesterday, but until yesterday, and this is the internship opportunities that Internshala is offering. I don't know if you guys have checked out. They have really good internship opportunities. Like, it's work from home, guys, and you guys can just, I'm not sure about the application procedure, but I see a couple of internship opportunities there. So I think that would be really helpful. They're giving you stipend and all. And I saw one NLP internship that is under IIT Bombay. That was really nice. And so I didn't know anything of this, nothing as such. I just came to know it once, I came here, and then I felt I'm quite late when I see, people working on all these things before coming here. So I feel I should have, given this, I should have got a contact where they could have told me that these are the important things. But it's never too late, right? I started, and then it's actually going good. So for you, I wish you guys can do all these things and can work on your profile really nicely. So that would be really helpful. All right, so this is almost the end of the session. Um, Acknowledgements. There's no nothing, ending before a shout out. So I would like to thank my parents, my sister, and my family who believed in me and let me fly. That was a great opportunity. I would like to thank LDRP, ITR professors, Ashish sir, a big thank you to you. I don't think this would have been possible without your help and without your discussion. And it was just a random discussion that we were having, and it turned out to, keep the session live. So thank you so much, Shivangi ma'am, HOD, principal ma'am. So I every other professor of LDRP that I remember of, I have a long list, but I'll thank them personally. That's my plan. And NC State professors, this wouldn't have been possible. The confidence wouldn't have been possible without them. Special thanks to Dr. Vastavai, Dr. Price, and Dr. Baylor. They had taken I was undertaking their subjects under them. That were really good. Yes, my peers at NC State, I would like to thank them because this journey wouldn't have been that smooth as I feel. So I'd like to thank them. Special thanks to my LexisNexis family. I really love them and I miss them before I start, working 1st of June. It's basically a small cozy family that I have here. So yeah, these all are my acknowledgements. We are open to question and answering sessions. I hope I have given enough time. We have 15 minutes. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm open for questions if you guys wanna just shoot questions. All right, I see that we have questions. Okay. I have a question. Industry prefers which kind of platform for data science? I think it all depends on where you are working on, where you're working. So for college students, you can use our AWS. Amazon AWS is used a lot, for the data techniques. Students can get like free account here, free tier account. So that is very important. Before coming here, I hadn't seen the dashboard even once. So once you go through it, I think it would be really helpful. Yeah, so there are a lot of platforms, but the most important part is you should know how it works. That's the most important part. All right, we have a question how to learn R language. We have a couple of tutorials for that, and I can send you the tutorials, but Coursera, Udemy, everything like has tutorials. That's the basic you can learn. We have books for that if you guys want to share. If you guys want need it, just email me and I'll get back to you. All right, we have a question. Once big data is given for examination and process the data to derive the required data of do with some software like supercomputers. Supercomputers, no. I mean, they should be there because it makes it lots faster. But that's where I use Amazon AWS. It gives what kind of CPU, what kind of GPU you want to select, and how do you want to proceed with it. It also has like Amazon SageMaker that is for machine learning specifically. So they are pretty good with that in dealing with all the GPUs and CPUs parts. So you just have to pay as much as you wanna. It's just how much the amount you use is the amount you pay. That's what they have. Which are the various fields, industries which are based on data science, where we can improve our skills as, and I'm interested in this field. So we have a lot of, I hope you're asking about the companies that are based on data science. So yeah, we have a couple of companies in India as well that are based on data science, but the most important part as you can contribute is creating projects, taking part in competitions, I would say. Right. What is the use of machine learning in real life? I feel where is it not used? So there'll be a time where everything has machine learning. That would so when you go through these courses, they'll tell you how to do it. When you just open your phone, you say okay Google, and you okay or hey Siri, whatever. So it all depends on how you train your model. So everything that you use has enormous amount of data and enormous amount of efforts that people put in for modeling it. So I think it's used everywhere. What are the prerequisites for data science? I don't think there are any specific prerequisites. Apart from that, you should know either R or Python or any other language, but the courses are well versed with that. So I don't think that even if you know basics of Python, it will actually um, teach you how to do it. And we have coding examples for that as well. So and we have Python for data science as a separate course as well. So I'll be happy to share um, how it works. And please email me if you have any questions, and I'll be really happy to share as much information as I have. We have a question: what are some beginner-friendly projects to get started? Um, so if you feel, just log into Kaggle once and see. That's because there you have like a data set readily available. You'll have a lot of help as well if you get stuck somewhere. There are a lot of discussion panels as well. So just log into Kaggle once. Please let me know if you don't find any help. But yeah, it is pretty helpful. I did a lot of projects from there. Uh, what type of work we have to do in internship? It all depends. Like the one internship that I saw had natural language processing tasks. So I think it all depends on what the company is doing and uh, yeah, and what project you're working on. Thank you so much, Ashish sir. This wouldn't have possible without you. Yeah, and I feel really great to share my knowledge to the institution where I learned the most. So yeah, really grateful. How to learn data structures and algorithms for data science. So I feel the courses cover most of it. We have specific books for that. So yeah, I hope I answer your question. If you have any doubts about this, email me, contact me on LinkedIn. I've seen a couple of requests on LinkedIn already from LDRP students, so that is actually a plus point. You guys are connecting, so that's actually good. Required maths topics, I would say basically statistics, probabilities, and also the course. I think the courses cover most of it where you interact with all those kind of using those examples. So that would be really helpful. How to contribute in open source platform like GitHub, etc. So when you open GitHub, you'll see an option for contributing to the project. You can also contact the owner of that project. You can start coding it, understanding it. Yeah, so even Indian government has open source projects. So if you don't want to do it using GitHub, you can do it for the Indian government. So that would be really great. Thank you so much, Ashvi sir. Yes, LDRPN, and I'm really proud of it. I'm not bragging, but I'm really proud of it. How data science is useful in operating system? Really good question. How is data science used in operating system? I think memory utilization can be a part, CPU utilization can be a part. I haven't interacted it with a great detail because I am focused on natural language processing, but I can get back to you if you want. I can definitely research about this a little bit more and get back to you. All right, so I don't see any other questions. Let me know if you guys have any. I can stick to it. Right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. This really means a lot. This is my first time going live, so I I tend to cover most of the information that I have and gained. And if you guys really want me to, post some tutorials and how you guys can decide how you want to take it further. So let me know if you guys, you really plan to have more such videos. Please look out to the things that I wish I would have known before slide and be a part of it. I think it would be really helpful. Right? Thank you so much for your time. And thank you. Bye-bye.